Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Today we are going to be taking an issue that is very important, something which is there in front of us, but people don't discuss it. It's in fact politicians talk about it, but when it comes to Dalit empowerment towards inclusion, somehow they fall short. We've heard about the caste census, which is, certain parties raise it, but is it just a political issue? Will something be done about it? And then, of course, there is the new education policy that has actually excluded, and it's not it's not done anything for inclusion, rather Dalit empowerment or reservations or it's called fellowships for Dalit students, or how they're treated in the periphery. All that has not been brought out. It's been totally ignored. So as you know, education is the key to everything. So we are going to be discussing something. I have with me a very renowned panel of experts, stakeholders who are there actually on the ground and who will try and help us understand the gravity of the problem. I have with me Professor Badri Narayan. He is a member of the University Grants Commission and he was part of the National Curriculum Committee of the New Education Policy. In fact, Badri Narayan ji is a researcher and a scholar on Dalit identity politics and has done a lot of work for Dalit mobilization. Professor T.V. Professor T.V. Kattimani, he is a Vice Chancellor of the Tribal Central University at Vijayanagar, Andhra Pradesh. He was also a member of the NEP of the National Education Policy Committee. Professor Nagapalli Nagaraju, he's a Vice Chancellor at FLU University in Telangana. And Prakash Babu, he's a Vice Chancellor Pondicherry University. I'll begin with you, Badri Narayanji, because you can just help us understand the gravity of the problem and set the note of what we are going to be discussing today.
See, Priya, actually, this is the very pertinent time to discuss this Dalit empowerment through education, which happened in after 2014. And there is a two historical time break you can see before 2014 and after 14. Before 14, there was a time of the Congress design. And you must have seen there are a lot of studies on Dalit discrimination in educational institutions. And there was one study which was done by Sukhdev Thorat in 2007 and supported by Oxfam. And it says that there's a big discrimination is going on with Dalits in educational institution. And earlier there was a study 1990 and 2000, and there is a lot of stories narrated by Dalit students. एक हम आपको बताना चाहेंगे, there was a schools in Aurangabad, and 80% of the students of the school told Dalit students that we are not allowed to enter in the classroom. हमारे blackboard, हमारे slates को भी नहीं छूते हैं teachers, and Dalit teachers were treated as a dull. So that was the situation before 2014, and after 14 there is a constant effort by the Modi government through NEP, through various kinds of measures to dilute the situation and bring drastic change in that. And you must have observed, Priya, that after 2014, a lot of government schools, primary schools were open in every village with a good infrastructure. And Dalit enrollment, tribal enrollment are growing a lot. So, secondly, NEP always gave emphasis, I think Professor K.V. Kattimani will tell in detail, gave emphasis on Samras campus. And there is a special scheme in the NEP to evolve Samras campus in the educational institution. And thirdly, because the various studies pointed out that decline of Dalit marginal enrollment in the schools are due to their language problem. So mother tongue may be very important in giving education to them. So NEP gave a lot of importance in mother tongue, and through mother tongue, they are going to get a lot of entry in the educational sphere. And fourthly, you must have observed that there is a provision in NEP, SCP, a Special Economic Zone, SEZ, a Special Educational Zone. And that there is a provision that the teacher will be appointed from the same community, from the community of the marginals, and they will teach other students. So that is also going to change the entire situation. So on the one hand, there was a situation before 14, and after 14, there is a drastic change in the educational sphere. And there is a lot of debate on this you will come. I will come in the second round of discussion on that. But just I'm pushing this discussion. I would like to remind you the entire debate around meritocracy. There is the discrimination against Dalit is based on central argument of meritocracy. What people used to say, and Jawaharlal Nehru in 1961, what he's right. मैं किसी भी प्रकार के आरक्षण को पसंद नहीं करता, विशेष रूप से सरकारी सेवाओं में मैं किसी भी चीज के खिलाफ एक कड़ा रुख रखता हूं जो दक्षता और दूसरे दर्जे के मानकों की तरफ ले जाती है। मैं अपने देश के सभी चीजों में अव्वल दर्जे की तरफ ले जाना चाहता हूं। जैसे हम दोयम दर्जे की तरफ जाते हैं, हम खत्म हो जाते हैं। तो यू सी द स्ट्रॉन्ग क्रिटिक ऑफ द मेरिट the strong support of the came from the Congress regime, and that continued till Indira Gandhi, even Rajiv Gandhi, and the Modi government when came, it created a balance between representations, the providing opportunity to the marginal community, and providing them capacity to aspire to get educated, and through the various kinds of social schemes they brought to give them economic support. Through that economic support, they got capacity to go to the college schools. So there's a drastic change is going on. And what PM Modi used to say that there's a lot of this inequality in society, but वो कैसे दूर होगा जब हम समभाव और मम भाव को एक साथ जोड़ेंगे. So this is the government which has evolved a new model of social justice, that is the Sambhav and Mambhav. So in this way, we should see this entire discussion. And I'm very happy that this is a very, very eminent panel of the people who are very concerned with this issue as a person, as an academician, and as an educationist here.
Okay, thank you for setting it out. But Professor Katimani, the new NEP, the National Education Policy, it aims for it says there's a casteless equity, which, while it does not, put people on the margin, but it is also not inclusive enough to bring in the marginalized, whether it is Dalits, Adivasis, tribals, anybody. So what is your view on that?
Actually, Priyaji, I was part of NEP drafting committee. Months together, there was a Indian education from primary to PhD, even research should be inclusive. How we can give facilities, midday meal, even morning breakfast, how to bring the children to the schools, how to bring the girl children into research, higher education. These were the continuous debates. At the same time, many more scholarships, many more schools to tribal children, many more schools to Dalit children, OBC children, enhancement of OBC seats in medical seats, medical education. These are the important parameters where government has taken steps to include more people into education. NEP said SEDGs, people who are disadvantaged groups, they should be included in education so that GR will come up. So this is part, and at the same time, where Professor Badrinarayan touched the point that mother tongue education should be part of the education, at least up to 7th standard. Mother tongue education, for example, a Savara tribal student from Andhra Pradesh as well as Odisha, they should be given education in Savara language itself, Gondi language itself in central India, so that slowly they will cope up with Hindi, cope up with Telugu, cope up with Odia, other languages too. So these things, I would like to, praise the House regarding when Modi ji was CM of his state, Gujarat. He called once he called the tribal minister, Mangubai Patel, now who is Honorable Governor of Bhopal. He once told me that the Honorable CM called and tell, देखो वहाँ आदिवासी बच्चे मर रहे हैं, या वहाँ हर बच्चे को रोज एक पाव लीटर दूध और एक अंडा देना चाहिए. Or within a year, there was a result the number of children who were going out of school at the same time who are dying, the number has come down. This is mostly, this is most educative. I'm very much fascinated. I was vice chancellor, Amarkantak University, Central Tribal University. Now I'm heading another one, Central University. Professor Prakash Babu is a Dalit. He's heading, most important university of the country, number one research university. And Professor Nagaraju, from a OBC background, he's heading another most important university, IFLU, English and Foreign Languages University. It is nothing but inclusivity. All people of this society, they are government trying to represent them into educational leadership. Thank you. Now I will stop here and
Thank
rest
you.
with the friends.
Okay,
Thank you.
Professor Prakash Babu, your first thoughts on the debate at hand.
Yeah, yes.
So what is your reaction? Do you think that a lot has been done? Has the scenario changed since 2014, since the Modi government came? Or are there any gaps in the new education policy that you would like to address?
Yes, actually, the basis of this new education policy is a multidisciplinary and holistic education, and also emphasized on the full equity and inclusion. So the main policy of this new education policy is the inclusive education, and also for the special emphasis on the people, those who are actually disadvantaged sections. So when there is a fully actually convincing words that this is already emphasized in the new education policy, I think let us give a time so that because it's in the initial stage, maybe one or two hiccups may be there, but even in 1982, so there are some hiccups. So for every education policy when it is started, there may be there, but at present these are being given a very good emphasis on this, as Professor Badri Narayan also indicated that there is a special education zone for the people those who are disadvantaged. So and also, so for the tribal, as Professor Katiman, tribal, they said that the tribal language will be given, the education will be given to these student children in the tribal language. And also the type of schools also, actually they wanted to change it to a locals, like a so ashram shalas, so they don't call it as the schools at all. So therefore they feel like a part of the system. Even for the some of these other marginalized sections like scheduled castes and all, when you teach them, even the people from the same community will be included as the teachers. So who will understand better than those teachers? So these are all the actually steps that they have been incorporated in the national education policy, and we strongly believe that the justice will be done to these marginalized communities. And also other important aspect is the skill education policy, so which is also very much essential to these people, especially in these categories. And also those skills will be really, see, these people, once they have had an education, they want to have some kind of employment. These are all employable places, employable courses, employable skills that have been emphasized. I think some of the issues automatically will be solved by using this one. So let the new education policy be at full strength and let it be implemented completely. So then we will see that how things will change. So hope I have addressed the main thing, right?
Yes, and I find all of you very enlightening, because what one has heard and what you are telling, there is a narrative that is going around, and all of you who are there, and two of you were there in the draft committee itself. So, the narrative exclusion, but what I'm hearing from you is something quite different. Professor Nagaraju, can you also help us, give us your first thoughts?
Thank you, madam. I think it's a very eminent panel, just as you have said. Narratives apart, am I audible?
Yes, you are, very much. Thank you.
Narratives apart, I would like to approach the new education policy from two particular angles. The first one, any education policy or any national education policy has an evolutionary trajectory. And this is the third the nation has produced, and probably the most inclusive policy in terms of the wide consultations that the drafting committee has done. The second, the kind of fragmentation and the liberal limitations of the liberal education that the earlier educational policies talked about, it has addressed that. It said fragmentation won't help us. And inclusivity is the point in the sense the communities need to be brought together through the tool of education. That is what it is. It has emphasized. The second factor, madam, I would just tell you, is that this policy has also included certain UN issues on education. And UN 2015, there is a declaration called New Social Contract. And this education policy talked about the social engagement and social contract. And it wanted the community to be predominantly addressed. A student must relink himself with the community. And the community, when you are talking about 50% GE, and the nation's population, correspondingly, all the communities get that, are part of that 50%. And Dalits, OBCs, they have their share. And when the nation touches 50% GER, or maybe what are the goals of Vikasit Bharat, probably the communities that we are talking about, they will have definitely their share and maybe more than that. I will just give you one example factually. Recently, the higher education minister, Sri Pradhanji, in Lok Sabha declared about the faculty positions filled in the higher educational institutions. And the number is 15,139, out of which SCs are 1,869, STs are 739, OBC 3,089, and PWD is 254. Total, if you total the numbers, it comes off the filled post, it may be more than 60%. This is, I'm just giving you an indication how in higher education, the Dalit and backward communities are represented and taken care of. So a narrative has to be based on facts. A narrative has to be based on ground realities. I think 2020 new education policy addresses the issues on the ground and links the student with the communities, be it backward, be it reserved communities. It asks for the student to re-engage himself with the communities and then tells academics have a way of producing knowledge and the communities have a way of producing, validating, and using knowledge. The student must be useful to the communities using that knowledge. So I think the new education policy is a very inclusive, very forward-looking policy, I would say. Thank you.
Okay, contrary to what I had read before coming, so I'm really glad to be here. And as you say, professors always enlighten. I'm going to take a break and come back and continue the conversation. So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to the Roundtable. We are here discussing the impact of the new education policy and what it does for the marginalized. Badinarayanji, there is also a conversation saying that, maybe merit will be compromised if you give too much, reservations or have special, zones for the marginalized. How would you answer that? And also this narrative that is doing the rounds, is it just political or is there anything more to it?
Yeah, I think you have raised a very important question. I have heard, I was hearing a leader of opposition about the merit and he was critiquing merit. And but as I read the Jawaharlal Nehru statement, I told you the history of dealing with the merit.
There is a politician in you also, Badinarayanji.
by the Congress, and there is a one thing. So yes, there is a politics. When you see the things from the political angle, you get a different meaning. But you see the things from the educational manner, you can get a very different meaning. So but we should be very, very thankful to Ambedkar, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, that Dalit are getting a lot of representation in politics. I think I was hearing the leader, and leader was critiquing that political representation तो मिल रहा है, लेकिन institutional representation नहीं मिल रहा. तो political representation से ही institutional representation पैदा होता है. And that's why Ambedkar Sahab told कि power, this is the master key. Politics is the master key. And Kansiram used to tell this Guru Killi. So political representation अगर बीजेपी दे रही है दलितों को, marginals को, तो we should be very happy. कि उसी से फिर institutional representation पैदा होता है. And you have just heard Professor Vice Chancellor Fiflu was telling the data, and that data says that how much participation Dalit and marginal communities are getting in social leadership. So the institutional representation is on there, and here is a proof because 3 eminent academicians of the country are from this section of the society. First thing. Secondly, Priya, whenever you see the society through divisive angle, you use the data in the same way to divide the things, not to include the things. So BJP after 2014, if you see the growth and progress in educational empowerment of the marginal communities, their better conditions of educational culture in which the inclusion is going on in a big way, and it is happening because of both the state and the society, because society is also changing, and a state is taking very lot of effort to create that kind of situation.
Okay.
So a lot of representations in educational, in institutional field, we can see the data, and we should talk through the data. That and if you see the data, you can counter that narrative, which is saying that there is no institutional representation by the BJP, by the ADP, by the BJP government for Dalit and marginals. I'm talking about politics because without politics you can't discuss anything. Politics is everywhere.
Okay.
So here is a politics of education, the way they are an institutional representation. In that way, if you analyze, you can find that BJP is far ahead from anyone, and the time is changing. India is preparing to become a Viksit Bharat, and a new discourse is emerging in society, and that is not.
I'll
that is
cut you a
different
bit
from
short
the-
because I want
what it
everybody to
was
come
yours.
in. We are running out of time, but I get your point. Professor Katimani.
Yes. I would like to draw attention of you all, in particular this thing. Padma Shris are being given to, in a big number, tribals, women who are living in most interior part of the country, and tribal women were appointed as millet ambassadors by Modi government. Millet ambassador, it is the greatest honor to the tribal communities. And one tribal lady from Odisha who lives in Koraput district, she was called as millet queen of India by the government of India, and she was awarded doctorate, honorary doctorate from Agriculture University of Odisha state. These are the initiation, you were talking about narratives. We have to establish narratives of the government who is constantly working on the enhancement of self-respect of women, tribal as well as Dalits. Dalit women of Karnataka, who were working on, painting, small paintings. She has been awarded, the highest, recognition of the India, Padma Shri. And, governor has called him and he said, I will send vehicle, Karnataka governor, and you come down. She could not go to receive. And she was called and she wasted the, confidence of the tribal people, Dalit people, women, and at the same time, general education registration of Dalits and especially Dalit women and tribal women has, enhanced
Okay. Professor.
scholarships and yes, yes. So we have to consider all these things,
Okay.
and we have to set new type of narratives in the Indian society. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Prakash Babu.
Yeah, so Priya, for your pertinent question of the merit is compromised, I don't see and completely deny, irrespective of politics and all, where the merit is being compromised. When the opportunities has been given to the Dalits and marginalized, they have improved a lot. Now they are in a higher strata and they are all occupying in a very good positions and they are doing the best possible jobs in their own institutions in any areas. But so see the inclusiveness is you have to address all these people. When everybody grows, then only the country grows. So this is what actually the part of the national education policy, equity, and they are giving a special emphasis. Emphasis is incorporated in the new education policy, as I indicated one example that one tribal schools will be given and also social welfare schools are be given in part of this new education policy, and they are being promoted from the beginning itself. So that one of the important thing is the addressing the dropouts. So going to the dropouts and the increase the dropout rates also one of the part of the new education policy. When all these are actually included, I think communities will automatically will increase and improve their socio-economic status. Thank you.
But thank you. But Professor Nagaraju, is the historical Dalit pain, the historical narrative of the Dalits, does that find a place in the new education policy? That is one of the criticism. It doesn't.
No, actually, I would give you two examples as to the scope the Dalit and marginal communities get in this new education policy. The first one, it talks about social relevance, and this learner should be socially relevant in his efforts. Second, the emphasis on skilling and upskilling. And then it talks about now that we are moving from knowledge creation to knowledge society, we are probably moving towards knowledge democracy. In a knowledge democracy,
Nice.
The kind of communities that we are talking about, they will have their important share. They will have their important, responsibilities and access to resources. So the new education policy, I would say, has given tools for the marginal communities to move forward, to empower themselves. And the most important thing is the agency that is being given to each individual of the marginal community, that agency being strengthened. And each Dalit individual will have his agency and move forward with his own thinking, not depending on any other clutches. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are out of time, but I think a certain narrative, at least another, has been countered, and from people who are there on the ground making the policy. I hope to have more conversations with you, but for now, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.